Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spanish United Radio. I'm your host, Enrique Sanchez. Tonight, we have a very special guest. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, hi Enrique. Thank you for inviting me to this great event. And it's an honor for me to participate in this conversation with you and your audience. My name is Kumar Swaminathan, and I'm a longtime resident of Temple City. I've lived here for the past, I would say 27 years. And I'm running for the city council. And I would like to speak to your audience about who I am, introduce myself more, and why I chose even to run for the election and what I plan to do once I get elected.
Perfect. I recently found you on Facebook because I'm part of the Temple City group, and I go to Temple City frequently. It's one of my favorite cities that I like to visit. So, explain a little bit about your run for office, a little bit of your background. And what would you like to see Temple City improving?
Sure. I'm an immigrant. I immigrated from India in the early 1980s, and I have lived in various parts of the US and for the past, like I said, 27 plus years in Temple City. And by education, I'm an engineer. I was educated back in India with the degrees in computer science and electronics engineering. And then I came to the US to pursue my master's degree in computer science. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I went on to do my MBA as well. And for the past, for the first 20, 25 years of my life in the US, um, I was working for various Fortune 500 multinational companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, obviously, I started out as a programmer and then progressed my way through various leadership roles, all the way ending at the senior vice president level. And so I enjoyed it. Like, I managed large budgets that spans not just states but different countries. So I gained a lot of experience along the way. And then, personally speaking, I'm married to my wonderful wife. She's also from India, where I met her, and she's a doctor, and she's practicing as a OBGYN and women's health expert. And so about 15, no, not that long, maybe 10 years ago, I realized, hey, why am I working for all these big companies,
Hmm.
making them making them rich? Uh,
Right.
you know, my wife is there struggling with a small business. I have all this experience. Why can't I? Why shouldn't I help her in running the business? So I
Right.
basically left my job and I joined her medical practice. And ever since, that gave me such a huge transformation about my capabilities, my capacities,
Hmm.
and how do I leverage that to enrich and enhance other people's lives. So my wife is doing the doctor's job, right? She's
Hmm.
taking care of the patients, but she also needs to run a business.
Right.
And that's where I came in. And since I came in, our business grew. We expanded into other locations. Um, and like I said, it fulfilled me in such a way that I never experienced when I was working in big multinational companies, even though it gave me a lot of experience and wisdom, knowledge, and all that. And what else? So we have two beautiful daughters, and they're all grown up now. They grew up in Temple City,
Hmm.
and they're all living on their own. But close by, of course, they visit us on the weekends.
Hmm.
And and uh, I, like I said, having lived in Temple City for the past 25 years, uh, couple of things happened that led me to this situation, right? Of course, there is a seed inside me that wanted me to run for a public office that always been there, but I never acted on it, either
Hmm.
because I was not ready or the opportunity didn't exist.
Hmm.
And then so that seed was there, and everything lined up maybe in late October, November of last year. And what happened was I kind of realized that, hey, in my life, I'm well settled. The kids are grown up and they're doing great. Our business is doing great. My health is good.
Hmm.
Everything is good around me. And I also reached a stage in my life. Okay, now what do I do next? I'm not planning to retire, but how do I
Hmm.
keep myself uh,
Busy.
busy and contributing? Like,
Hmm.
I love to contribute, right? Then
Hmm.
I said, okay, then why not do some public service? I mean, I have been doing other community services, public services all along, which I'll get into in a minute
Hmm.
later on. But for the community where I live for the past 25 years, how do I contribute? So that thought came up. And then the election announcement came, and then I started digging, okay, do I really want to do this? And then
Hmm.
I started looking at it and then the first thing that struck me was, wow, Temple City didn't have an election for council member for the past 10 years. And the members who are there have been there for literally decades,
Right.
multiple terms. Most often they were unchallenged.
Hmm.
And then I tried to compare it to, wow, that correlates a lot with the state of Temple City too. I
Hmm.
see the stagnation, like not
Hmm.
just in the downtown, but the whole city. Like there is an opportunity there. So that opportunity combined with the seed that was inside me to run for an office and contribute, they came together. Okay, then I made a decision. Okay, let me
Hmm.
go file my paperwork. And the city clerk, she is extremely helpful. The city itself, I'm talking about the career employees. And they
Hmm.
walked me through the process, and here I am. And ever since I filed the nomination in December, it's been a great experience. I'm really looking forward to the tomorrow's election. And um, one of the things that can I share some of the experiences?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that again? You were breaking out.
Can I share some of my recent experiences as part of the
Yes,
campaign?
absolutely. Go ahead.
So I had a few like town hall meetings. I knocked
Hmm.
on doors.
Have
I
a
hand,
scene.
I handed out flyers and everything. And I was mostly listening to people. Hey, I'm running for city council. And the question would be, what is that? And what do you want me to do? Or why are you
Right.
running kind of thing, right? So I would explain all those things. And then once you establish that communication, a lot of people opened up. They they said that they felt so disconnected from the city.
Hmm.
It's like they don't know who the mayor is, they don't know who the council members are, and what do
Hmm.
they do? Even though their life in the city is so much dependent on how the city performs, right? Not
Right.
only just the roads, traffic, parking, and local businesses, the vitality, like they felt that, okay, yeah, I mean, I have a house here, I'm renting here, or I own a home, but they were not proud of being part of Temple City, many of them.
Well, yeah, because most of the people that live in Temple City tend to be immigrants and they're more focused on making money than making loss.
Exactly. They felt disconnected. And it's like, wow, there's a big gap there. I realized that, I'm an immigrant and I could relate with every immigrant, the Hispanic, the Asian, European communities. I met with a few of them from each category you can think of.
Hmm.
Everybody felt that, like you said, they are busy with their lives, but they don't
Right.
realize how much more the life could have been more enriched if only the city took care of their citizens.
Well, from what I see from Temple City, I know that Temple City is more of the quieter of the San Gabriel Valley, and I always get the impression that Temple City is more like an older town. But I do see that there could be some more room for improvements, particularly like the roads that are close to Las Tunas, where the library and the city hall is at. Because I go there a lot with my mother. She's in her 80s. She likes to do exercise. I like to ride my scooters. So yeah, I could definitely see more room for improvement. But you
Mhm.
actually touched on a very important point. Like what we do in Spanish United, aside from working in civil rights, we also do a lot of dialogue and engagement because I always like to encourage the Hispanic Latino people to be involved. Doesn't matter who they vote for particularly, but it's very important to be involved because as much as we may not like it or like think about it, politics affects the lives of people, and
Right.
whatever decision the leaders make, regardless if it's a good one or a bad one, depends on how we vote, and at the same time depends on what we know. So it's always very important for the people to be engaged with their local leaders, for local leaders to be engaged with the population, particularly with the public, because they are the ones that are paying the salary for the public servant to serve the community at large.
Exactly. So there were a couple of ideas that popped into my mind as I was talking to the constituents, right?
Hmm.
So everybody said that, okay, they felt distanced from the Temple City Hall, right? So that's probably the first thing that I would, one of the first thing that I would do is instead of waiting for people to come to the city hall and attend council meetings, the city hall should go to the communities, right?
Absolutely.
And listen to them, ask them questions in their own native language. And
Hmm.
tell them, hey, we are here to help you. You are part of our community. Tell us in your language. I mean, we have a lot of interpretation technologies and people around us to bridge the language gap, right? That's not an
Right.
issue. The problem is the lack of willingness. Instead, I go to these council meetings, it's always empty.
Right.
It's because there is a gap between the city hall and the citizens already. So how do you expect anybody to show up in the city hall council meetings? Instead, one of the first things that I will do, let's have a mobile council meetings where we go to the communities in the evenings or the weekends. Let's pick communities where we can set like mobile units and talk to them in their language if needs to be, and ask them, hey, we are your elected leaders. How can we help? What are you facing? Without that, anything that happens at the city hall is done in vacuum, right? So they're just making up what's priority for the city and just spending our money as they wish. So that's number one.
Right.
Number two, I really feel that the diversity in Temple City is an asset. So we have Hispanic, Asian, different types of Asians, European, white, black, and everything, right?
Right.
But you still don't get that community cohesiveness that transcends above all this, right?
Right.
Division. Because we don't, there is not an opportunity that brings people together from multiple cultures. See, I come from a culture where, um, regardless of our background, we gather around festivals, right?
Festival of Holly and Dolly.
There you go. The Holy Festival is coming up pretty soon in our religion. And like that, we would celebrate, Islamic, Hindu, Christian, any festival. Because people are already in their celebratory mode. They come together and then and then they coalesce and gather around and have fun and they get to know each other. And that's how you build the community feeling, right? In
Right.
Temple City, you look around and say, hey, there are two or three major events, but they're all focused in Las Tunas. It happens once a year, and it's all about certain theme, parade, and food and rites and those kind of things. But it doesn't celebrate the culture of the people.
Right. Absolutely. Like I know that one example how to bring people together. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Singapore, but Lee Kuan Yew, the first prime minister, one of the things that he did when he was elected into office is that he did similar what you're proposing is that he would go directly into the neighborhoods, the town squares, even the apartments of the people, talk to people directly. Let it be through English or Chinese or a translator and then getting people to be more involved. And I think that helped to make a more harmonious society because Singapore, as you know, even though it's a majority Chinese country, it is a multicultural, multi-religious, multilinguistic, and multi-ethnic society, but it's also very prosperous. So that could be
Right.
an example that you could use to bring people to be more involved in the city of Temple City.
You got it. Exactly. Like that. Yes. Those are the two things. Like, I mean, I have certain other priorities, downtown revitalization, but of course, it was talked about a lot. Um, and I don't know why it hasn't happened. I'm not saying that I have the perfect solution, the magic bullet, if you will, but the thing, other cities have done it, right?
Yes, like
So,
St. Gabriel has done it, the city of St. Gabriel, which is next door.
yeah, Duarte, Monrovia, Alhambra.
Arcadia,
Yeah, Arcadia downtown is still, I know they're struggling still, but the Arcadia business district in general, it's much better. Yeah, I mean I agree with you. That's the point is, our neighboring cities have moved on, right? And I'm sure we could learn a lot from them. And whether any issues that we face, stagnancy in our small business, in our ability to attract small businesses,
hmm
stagnancy in keeping the downtown Temple City vibrant and alive, safety and safety issues. Um, Everything has to be questioned, right?
of
And
course.
and everything has to be explored out of the box and find out, I would demand answers until we find a solution because the stagnancy is not an option for us, and we're not paying taxes to just stay status quo. I mean, see, Temple City is a safe city, good school district, um, but it's got so much more potential.
hmm
That's actually is my point of why I'm running, right? Um, I mean, that's why I even chose to live in Temple City. That I felt safe, and I never felt anything otherwise all my 25 plus years.
hmm
But I look around, like you said, our neighbors have moved on, and I could correlate to our leadership. It's like no new ideas, no new thinking outside the box.
hmm
no new proposals. Even I don't know how many people know that there is along with the city council, there is a proposition that raises the sales tax.
Right.
And that's a totally different issue. But those are the things that, yeah, as a city council member, I would question a lot before I ask one more penny from the citizen. I would have 20 questions. How are we managing the budget? Are we
Mhm.
prioritizing all of our initiatives, projects, and so on?
Yeah, because the whole point of a public servant is not to take a salary, but they are to serve the interests of the public, and the public is very concerned about how their tax dollars are being spent. Pe people in general would not have a problem paying a little bit more in taxes if they receive an incentive. Where the problem lies is when people pay more in taxes and then they don't get the incentive, and that causes resentment. And that's what I've seen in many cities throughout the United States where people get heavily taxed, but they don't really see the incentives, at least to compensate for the heavy taxation. I think, for any public servant that is running for public office, it's very important that one has to listen to the concerns of the citizens, and if they are to raise taxes, even if it's by 5% or 5 cents, for example, there has to be, guaranteed that they will see benefits, because that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to vote, because people say, what's the point of voting if they're not doing anything to make my quality of life better, or to lower my taxes, or to raise my taxes, but give me some type of trade-off on the long run.
Exactly, right. So, I mean, yeah, we all get it that taxes are needed. That's how the community is taken care of by the the government entity, right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
But there's got to be number one, transparency, and number two, buy-in from the citizens, right? What that means is, like, if you ask the average Temple City citizen, I doubt if many people would even know what this tax is all about and how that tax dollar is going to be spent and so on, right?
Hmm.
And like you said, if they don't even understand what it is for, how it's going to make their life a little bit better, how do you expect them even to vote yes or no, right? And
Exactly.
one of my guiding principles, once I get elected as the council member, is like any new projects, that'll be my first question. Like, okay, how is it going to enrich or enhance our citizens?
Hmm.
And that too, it has to be prioritized. Of course, we could be doing 20 different things, but is this the right thing to do given the expenses, given the revenue we are collecting? I've been digging into the city budget, and it's I have managed multi-million dollar budgets, and the city budget is something that I'm still trying to make sense of, um, which is kind of it, something going on I don't understand. Like, how do you run a city like this?
Yeah, over time, like you mentioned, when public servants are there for too long, they start to get corrupted. There starts to get cronyism, and it becomes plutocratic, and that's maybe probably what's Temple City is getting stagnant. And to be honest with you, Kumar, out of all of the people from city council, even the mayor, I've tried to reach out. You're the only one from Temple City that has taken my request. Like, I've tried to interview Cynthia Seinscher. She's the mayor a couple times. She either does not
Hmm.
take my phone calls or does not want to reach out to me. So I really commend you that again, that at least you're trying to listen to the concerns of the citizens, even though I myself don't live in Temple City, but I do work and do business in Temple City on a regular basis.
Sure. Right. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons. The more, the longer I've been involved in the campaign, um, the more convinced about my decision. Ah, this is great. I got something to do that I can actually contribute to others. Um, and my mind is kind of going 1,000 miles per hour. Like, oh, this I want to. And I'm telling myself, okay, calm down, calm down, calm down. And then then my more rational thought process will take over and say, hey, I don't, ha I don't want to say that I have answers to everything. I will first listen. In fact, the first few things that I will do once I get elected is to have these kind of council meetings at the community, not at the city hall, and listen to people. They haven't been listened to, the Hispanic community for it
Hmm.
specifically. What
Hmm.
they went through with the recent national um, turmoil with immigration and everything that
Right.
happened, I can only imagine what that community is going through, right?
Yeah, right
And
now they're suffering a lot. Yesterday I was in San Gabriel where I was speaking on behalf of Spanish United because right now many of the Hispanic people feel that they're invisible and they're heavily being persecuted by ICE. So again, as a public official, they need to listen to the concerns of the Hispanic community because even though the Hispanic community may not be economically well off as others, but they contribute heavily to the economy.
mhm. Not just the economy. See, I see this Hispanic community is literally a backbone of Southern California, right?
Hmm.
In I take my own house. The people who work in my businesses, the people who come to work in my house, they're all of Hispanic origins, and they are the most beautiful, really hard working people that I could come across.
Hmm.
The most family oriented. I mean, I come from a background where family is everything, and
Right.
I can relate that with the Hispanic community. You
Hmm.
know, somebody who helps my mother-in-law. She comes to help her at our home because she's old and she just had a cataract operation, and she's from El Salvador, and she she works 2 or 3 jobs, and she has 3 beautiful daughters. They're all going to college. You see various colleges and UC system. How much dedicated she is to bring up her 3 daughters and take care of the family. I could relate to that,
Hmm.
and I see that in every interaction that I have. Like, how can we leave this community behind? How could we stand by and see that community go through this harassment and all that in out there in the street? And I was talking to you earlier today. My daughter is very active in the immigration issues, and she's applying to be an attorney as immigration attorney as well. And she actually inspired me. In fact, she's the one who encouraged me while I was going through this debate within myself: should I run or not? She said, "Dad, go run.
Hmm.
You know,
Of course.
go do this thing." She said, "No, I'll help you." And she did bring some of her friends to do a lot of the campaign work also. So,
That's good. That's
so
good.
yeah, that's that'll definitely be one of my priorities.
Yes, because I feel that if the Hispanic community is totally subdued or they are expelled, it will be detrimental to the economy, not just only for Temple City, but also for entirety of the United States. And that's one thing that I emphasize in my workshops of Spanish United when I do conferences and events is
Mhm.
that it is true there are Hispanics that do take advantage, that do bad things, as with any group of people, but the majority of them are honest working people that want to live the American dream. They want to provide for their families, and they contribute a lot. And I feel that it's very important that they should be respected and treated with dignity like every other group of people, regardless if one is wealthy or not, because where do then how what does it say about us as a society? You know,
Exactly. Right. Right.
where we treat our vulnerable less than humanely.
Love thy neighbor. It's it's a statement that we should all live by, right? It's we don't ask love thy neighbor as long as I know where they're coming from. It doesn't work
Exactly.
that way. Doesn't work that way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is the kind of outlook and space that I come from, and say, I see people for who they are. There are a lot of underrepresented groups, specifically the Hispanic group, and I would definitely put a high priority listening to them and make sure
Mhm.
that they are taken care of.
Absolutely. And one of the concerns that many Hispanic people have primarily is the issue of housing. So, you know, one thing I would recommend to you as an up-and-coming public servant is to listen to the concerns of the community when it comes to housing, and at the same time when it comes to public discrimination. So, you know, that's something that I know can be difficult to deal with, but I feel that, you know, with precision and patience, you know, you'll be able to have success in reaching the Hispanic community in terms of voting for you for office and at the same time seeing the overall stability and prosperity of the Hispanic community in the city of Temple City.
100%. The housing is a huge issue for pretty much everybody, right?
Hmm.
Especially for the working class family. Even our daughters are saying, "Oh, Dad, Mom, yeah, you worked hard and you're owning this house," but they're doubting if they can afford to buy a home in Temple City.
Right.
Leave alone, so many other working family, if they could even able to rent an apartment here, right? It- Okay, so the question then comes is, okay, can a city do something about it? I totally believe yes. Okay. The 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 property tax dollars that go to the county that gets fed back into the city and all those things, I'm trying to understand how all those things work. But those dollars, I know most of it goes to the school district and all that, but I haven't explored seriously, like, okay, so there is a lot of income coming to the city at the city level, but where are those dollar budget allocations going that helps housing for the working class,
Right.
right? And it doesn't even have to be financial assistance, but even finding spaces, lots where new housing could be built, allocating them, the rent control and all those
Hmm.
things.
Correct.
Pasadena has rent control. I don't know if we are ready for that kind of things yet, but that's one of the things that I will explore, for example, right? If we don't make housing affordable to people, especially the working class community, how are we? going to portray ourselves as a community that welcomes everybody, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, we need people from every class, every walk of life, every economic status, every cultural background, and all those things. That really is what will can make Temple City vibrant. I strongly
Absolutely.
believe in that. Yeah,
It gets to a point that when people have to travel or commute 2, 3, 4 hours just to afford rent, in the
right.
long run it becomes unsustainable, and then it causes economical collapse. So there needs to be a balance that protects working people. At the same time, it could continue for economic prosperity.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yes.
So anyway, we're coming to the end of our time, but I want to tell you, Kumar, thank you for being a guest on the show, and for all the listeners listening on Spanish United Radio. We are on all social media platforms. We are on Spanish United, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, now known as X. We are on YouTube. We are a nonprofit organization. Anything that people donate to the organization is help those in need. And anyone wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on DM. So as soon as I finish, I will email you the link, and you could share the interview with all of your colleagues. And again, Kumar, it's a pleasure meeting with you, and I wish you the best tomorrow on your run for city council.
Enrique, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. It was a surprise when you reached out to me on Facebook, and I'm extremely, extremely thankful to you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Have yourself a good
I
evening.
I will make you and your listeners and your community, the Hispanic community, proud of me once I become the council member.
Definitely, definitely. I hope to meet you one day in person to
I'm looking forward to
congratulate
it.
you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.